Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eric. Welcome to the video. I decided to go live just out of laziness, so hopefully I can do this without screwing up too much, but and actually get my point across. um, so no one's asked me this question, but I thought it was a good question, or something that you guys would like to know about. So specifics, I bid direct contracts, how I bid it, but this is more of a mindset, and then also just don't get hung up on stuff. So first off, if you don't have any trucks, I mean, it's great that you're watching this, but don't get hung up on this. Just get started. Like whatever you do, that's the main thing, is just get started. If you're over the road and you want to be local, you don't need to go out and find direct contracts. You just need to go out and find a reliable company to work for, and then you can figure this out later. But so what I do in my market, I mean, I feel like it's really hard to tell you what your market's like because rates vary so much in the going rate. But basically, I don't bid much per mile. I just figure out how much I want to make that day. Things that I take into account are the hassle factor, the stress factor. What is there any specialized equipment that's needed? The details of the job, and then how consistent is it? And then along with how consistent is it year round? Like, is it a year round thing? Is it consistently slow in the summer? Is it consistently slow in the winter? Is there 2 months where you're not going to do anything? Is there sporadic? And then I guess you could go into like wear and tear. But so in my mindset, there's different categories, and I charge a little bit extra tax for something that's a little bit higher. Tax would be just like they got to pay more if they want my service, basically. So what the goal is for me as a carrier is to find work that anything is good that I can afford to pay a driver and still turn a profit. So it's got to be scalable. If it's something that's, like the company has a lot of owner operators, and it's just good for an owner operator because an owner operator can make just a little bit more money than he can or she can at a job. That's not probably going to be what I'm looking for, because it's just not going to make sense because I can't scale it. I can only do it if I drive. And then from there, I want to be able to subcontract that work out. So the goal would be to then charge enough so that I can, when I need help, find somebody else to do the work sometimes. They'll just be able to, because if there's not enough room in it, then it's just not going to work. But I'm not hung up on that. I don't have a specific number in my head. So a lot of what I do is the dry bulk industry, which is end dumping and hoppers and stuff like that. I don't do pneumatics, or tankers. But basically, that work, the going rate is about, for a full day's worth of work, $1,000. Oh, another thing that I take into account is how much time does it take? How many hours does the job take? And then how much fuel are you going to burn on the job? Okay. So what I'm saying is I don't have a fixed rate. Like, I don't say I need to make $100 an hour. But I'm only putting 50 miles on the truck, and it takes 10 hours to do the job. So I would make $1,000 and I'm not bringing any fuel. Then I would negotiate. I mean, it would be negotiable where it could be a lower rate. But where I want to sit is I would like the truck, after I pay for the fuel in the truck, to make $700 a day. And the way that I look at it is if a company wants me to work for them, they're hiring me for the day. So there's kind of like got to be a minimum charge for the day. So that's why it's hard to go off per miles. But so in the end dumping, on the more of the trucking side, which would be like the trucking side would be like non-construction end dumping stuff. I usually do like per load. Pretty much non-construction is you're putting miles on the truck, right? It's something that you can do in a day, but you could be doing a 600-mile run, 300 one way. So with something like that, I'd be, what's going on, dirty broke? With something like that, I would be charging upwards of 1,000. I'd try to get 1,100. I tried to get 1,200 if I was going to put on like 600 miles. Now you could do the math and figure out what, but the point is that it's what I want for the day, and then you work your way back. So I'm not hung up on miles, because every day, like today, I had I think 10 or 12. I had 12 trucks rolling today. The per mile, some guys are getting literally $10 per mile, but I mean, what if they're only putting on 100 miles a day? So I have a price. They're getting it per mile, or it's not per mile, but if you figured it out, it'd be like $10 a mile. Then there's other trucks that are doing like $2 a mile, and there's other trucks that are doing like 5 and 7 and 3. All it just depends. So, but in the end dumping, like a lot of what I do is hourly. I charge anywhere from $90 to $125 an hour, and then I do other stuff where it is per load, and then when you do in the per load, basically I never figure out the miles and charge, and no one has ever asked me what the mileage is. I guess that's a lot of what this video is about, because don't get hung up on the miles, I guess is what I'm saying. Just make sure that your truck and your business is actually generating revenue for the day. Because the miles, I mean, what if you're, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. I just never have gone by the mile. So now I have direct dry van customers. Well, one. I'm sure I have more than one, but the main one that I work for, maybe I only just have one. Must just be the one. But anyways, so they have two different divisions of dry van work locally. So like some of the local stuff, it depends, because are you using their trailer or ours, stuff like that. So like with this, what I'm talking about right now, it'd be if you're using like their trailer specifically for this client, they pay me $1.85 a mile with their trailer. Now they let you choose where you want to go. So like, for instance, like a run that I'll do for them is I'll pick up in the Twin Cities and we'll go to Des Moines, Iowa. Well, then that's about a $950 day or $1,000 day. So it still averages out to be about where it needs to be. That is definitely on the low end, especially when you're running, when I'm running miles like that. I'd like to be higher, but I really only use it as a backup with their, it's with their trailers. I do it, if they need help, because that's kind of like what trucking is all about, is favors. Like you give a favor, and then you hopefully in some time down the line, you need a favor, and they'll come through and help you out. That's kind of the way I feel like it works. But you try to never call in the favors. You probably try to just always give the favors and not call them, not ever try to get them back. But so I hope that helps. I guess I would feel like maybe it would give you an idea of maybe some specific questions that you would want to ask me. And if that's the case, that'd be great, and I'll make another video. Thanks for stopping by, Dirty, and whoever else, and we'll talk to you later.